Good morning, everybody. I'm so happy to be here this morning in Medicine Hat, and in particular in Brooks Medicine Hat, with our amazing candidate Gwendoline Dirk in the amazing campaign office that these folks and their volunteers have set up. We are just a little over the halfway point of this by-election campaign, and so it was a pleasure for me to be here last night and to join Gwendoline and about 50 volunteers who were here last night and who then came with us out on the doorsteps all across this riding last evening. And what we're hearing from the folks in this riding is that they want to see a government that is focused on addressing their priorities, and that includes affordability. What will we do to make life more affordable for folks in this area? Healthcare. What will we do to ensure that the chaos is reduced in our healthcare system, and that most importantly, the services and the care that people are looking for is there for them when they need it? And then finally, folks need to know that they can count on their provincial leadership to grow a resilient jobs economy, one that is not premised on instability and wild statements from day one to day two, but rather one that will regularly and consistently attract investment and diversification to our province. I also know that one of the things that's so exciting to be able to be out on the doorsteps is to be with someone like Gwendoline, who is a longtime resident of this riding, who has lived here for many decades, who has taught so many people who live here either in school or in college, who is a huge volunteer. And that's in big contrast to the UCP leader who is running here who's never lived here before, who doesn't live here now, and who is refusing to commit to actually move here after the election. I mean, she is not only a parachute candidate, but she's a parachute candidate who has no plans to stay here once she lands, but rather to just pick up and leave again. So the fact of the matter is that folks need better. As I said last night to many of our volunteers, I grew up in a house that was led by one of the most well-known rural MLAs in the province, my father, when he also served as leader of Alberta's NDP. And I know what it looks like to have an MLA come home on the weekends and to be there for the residents of their riding when they have problems, up to and including taking a call late at night and going out to help somebody chase their pigs because the Department of Transportation accidentally knocked somebody's fence down. These are things that happen when you're a local MLA, and these are things that folks in this area will not be able to count on if Danielle Smith ends up becoming their MLA. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Gwendoline for her to speak just a little bit, because of course she's the person that folks are going to be casting their ballot for, and I cannot tell you how proud I am to have her running for us and carrying our banner in Brooks Medicine Hat.
Thank you, Rachel. You are such an inspiring leader. I just love her. People last night, this room was filled because people were so excited. We had over 50 volunteers here coming to meet Rachel, talk with me again, although I've met these people before, and go out and door knock after. We have so many volunteers, and the numbers are growing by the day. Every single day we have more volunteers. We actually have about, we've talked to at least 3,000 people. We've made 7,000 calls, and we've knocked on 1,400 doors. So it's been wonderful. I've actually been out knocking on doors and talking to people about this campaign even before the by-election was called. I've been out since June, even before I was the nominee, talking to people. I've been involved in this community. I'm a member of the community. I live here, I worked here, I was in many organizations. I love Medicine Hat. I love the entire riding. I love driving to Brooks. I spent some time in a wonderful little town called Dutchess this summer and talked to many of the people out there, and talking to farmers comes naturally to me because I grew up on a farm. I lived on a farm. I know about the issues on farms. So I'm here to support the people in the riding. When I'm out in the doorsteps, every day talking to people, I know what their number one concerns are because they tell me. I've been hearing the concerns for the last 3 years. People are worried about not being able to find a family doctor in Medicine Hat because so many doctors have not only left our beautiful city to find opportunities elsewhere, they've fled the province because of the chaos in this province. If you do not have a family doctor, right now, no new doctors in Medicine Hat are accepting new patients, and I find that disturbing. Okay. People are worried about the affordability crisis. You know, especially I was speaking with a lot of seniors and seniors on fixed incomes. They can't make ends meet at the end of the month. People are worried about good jobs, not just now so that they can pay their bills, but they want a resilient economy for the future. They want some stability in Alberta. They want to be able to rely on having a stable, resilient Alberta for years to come, not only for themselves, but for their children and their grandchildren. These are the things I'm hearing at the doors. Okay, I'm not hearing conspiracy theories, okay, as my friend Rachel here has pointed out. I'm hearing real issues to real people, and that's what I care about. I care about the real people of Medicine Hat Brooks, and that's why I stepped forward to do this, just out of complete concern for the area and the people in the area and wanting to put our area on the map. I love this community. I live here. I'm here to win this race, and my name is Gwendoline Dirk, and I'm asking for people to support me and vote for me, and I will deliver on all my promises.
So thank you, and we're happy to take any questions anyone here may have.
And with that, we'll open the floor for questions. A reminder, press star 9 or use the raise hand function on Zoom. Please state your name and outlet at the top. We'll go to the questions in person.
Chris Brown, Challenges. You mentioned the negatives, I guess, to Danielle Smith being a parachute candidate here, and you mentioned a little bit about the positives. So can you just go more in depth in that? How does that connection that you have, or do you think that connection that you already have gives you any sort of advantage, and how would you use that to your advantage?
Well, I think the advantage it gives me is the fact that I know what the issues are. I know where the riding lines are. I don't campaign in the wrong riding, like I heard a small rumor that someone did. I know the people. I go to doors, and probably every 10th door, I know somebody, or they know me, or they knew my family, because I've got a very large family who lives here. I've got a number of cousins. I was very involved in the community for 30 years, and so I have roots here, and I know what Medicine Hat and Brooks and Bassano and Duchess and Rosemary and all the small areas in between need and want. So that definitely should give me some sort of an advantage.
And this campaign office, when it comes to members of the public, how will you utilize this to connect with members of the public? I'm
constantly asking people to stop by and meet the team, because this entire campaign is about the team. It's never been about me, because I'm always concerned about the bigger picture. And for me, the bigger picture is the people of Brooks Medicine Hat, who I care deeply about.
Samantha Johnson, Medicine Hat News. Gwendoline, if you win the by-election, what will your first steps be?
I never anticipated there being a by-election, so I haven't even thought that far ahead, but I think my first steps will be to find out what I need to do in order to be both in the riding, to continue to connect with the people here, and find out what my job will be in Edmonton to advocate for the people in the riding.
And also, if I could jump in there, I mean, we have a caucus of 23 people who have spent a good deal of time knowing how to engage most effectively with the folks in their riding, knowing how to connect with all the stakeholders, and knowing how to ensure that their voice can be heard in the legislature. And of course, the legislature starts again, theoretically, on November 29th. And you can bet that Gwendoline will get a lot of support and advice from some very, very strong advocates in the legislature.
And with that, we'll open the floor for questions online. A reminder, press star 9 if you're dialing in, or use the raise hand function on Zoom. We'll go to our first caller. Brody Thomas, your mic is unmuted.
This is Notley. Yesterday, Premier Danielle Smith appeared to offer some enthusiastic support to Calgary and the Calgary Flames ownership on getting an arena deal done here in Calgary. Just wondering about your thoughts on that offer of help and if you would offer the same.
Well, you know, I will always support Calgary and support Calgary in its effort to recover its economy on so many fronts. That's why when we were in government, we made a pretty significant investment through the CRL to help the Stampede and the city and Calgary Economic Development build what will be a world-class and largest ever convention center in and around the site of the current arena. The fact of the matter is, though, that we currently have a premier who is hedging on whether she wants to complete construction on the dam that would protect not only the new convention center and the current and/or future arena, but all of downtown. So I think that has to be a priority. And in the meantime, of course, we're always willing to look at the business case for any kind of project that would support Alberta's economy.
Do you have a follow-up?
I guess I'm just wondering for your thoughts, wondering about your thoughts on previously when Smith was the head of the Wild Rose, she said she wouldn't support the Edmonton Oilers on their arena. So just your thoughts on that change in viewpoint.
Well, honestly, I mean, Danielle Smith has flip-flopped on more issues than I can possibly count on all my fingers and all my toes. So this is probably another one of those things. And she's made it very clear that she makes decisions purely on the basis of political interests. So it's not surprising that she's made that kind of decision. Ultimately, we know that fairness and best interests of all the taxpayers and return on investment, those things are critical criteria, along with accessibility and the ability of all taxpayers to enjoy the benefit of taxpayer investments in these projects. Those are important criteria that our government would apply all across the province to all communities.
Thank you. We'll go to our next caller.
Well, hi there, it's Catherine Burkowski, Alberta Today. Yesterday, the advanced education critic, David Egan, had said that he believed it's possible that the premier violated some election rules in speaking at an opening of the Medicine Hat college expansion. And I'm wondering whether your party will be pursuing any formal complaints or if this was just something he was pointing out.
No, we will be writing a letter to the Chief Electoral Officer. I understand some folks had reached out to get some opinions from the Ethics Commissioner, but this is a matter to be dealt with by the Chief Electoral Officer. The prohibition on what Danielle Smith did yesterday is contained in the Elections Act, and we know that they're being pretty careful about ensuring the rules are followed at Elections Alberta, and so we expect them to properly investigate this action on the part of the Premier, because it does in fact breach the Act, we would argue.
Yeah, and I guess to follow up again on Danielle Smith, she had proposed today in the Calgary Sun potentially bringing in a party system to municipalities, specifically Edmonton and Calgary. I'm wondering if you had any opinion either way on that.
I'm sorry, a party system?
Yeah.
Well, you know, I think, bottom line is, I think that is a matter for voters and to make a decision on, and for people and candidates to make a decision on. I don't think that the provincial government should be imposing these kinds of choices on any municipality. That is a matter for the communities, the voters, and the candidates to decide.
Wonderful. We'll take one last pass for questions online and in person. Seeing none, that concludes today's press conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much.